Wait. Bye. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Toni, and I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 kids, and this is one of my little angels. He's 6 years old, so he's in kindergarten this year, and I'm going to show you today what we are using for Bible for him. So if you guys are looking for a Bible curriculum that is very easy, open and go, it could work for preschool up to, I would say, kindergarten. It would be totally fine for any of those ages. So if you are looking for something like that and you want to see what we're using, then stay tuned. So for Bible, I have actually used this when my oldest, who's 12, when she was in preschool. And for this guy, we're using it this year for him for kindergarten. 6. He's 6. Yes, you are. So it is called Bible Nuggets, and this is from Christian Liberty Press. So I actually bought this at a homeschool convention, like the first homeschool convention I ever went to. This was the curriculum that they had at the Christian Liberty Press booth, and that is, we got all Christian Liberty Press stuff that year, and it was really good. It worked really well. But I hadn't used it in many, many years, and then this year I was trying to decide what I was gonna do for a real Bible curriculum for him, and I was like, let's pull out something that we already have that I know works. It worked really well for my oldest when she was little, and so that is what we've been going over this year. Yeah, so today we're gonna be doing Moses and the burning bush. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you real quick. You guys can just come along with us as I do the lesson with him and see what I have him do. But this is how it's set up. It's got a table of contents here. So there are 34 Bible lessons in here. So you can do one a week. We do one every other day because the other days I do a lesson with my girls. Each lesson has a little Bible story here. It has a memory verse here. It's got questions, like comprehension questions to ask. And then it has a summary of what the lesson was about. So it has a nice full color page here, which is good because it goes with, let me borrow this for a second, with the activity book. So the activity book has a replica of this page, except for the kid to do. So sometimes it's a cut and paste thing, sometimes it's a color thing. So I'll show you. We rip the pages out of his activity book because some of them you have to cut and glue things together, and I just got him this little notebook. These are kind of cool. I just discovered this year. I actually got it at a thrift store, so it was really cheap. But anyway, it's a really cool binder, and it worked well for him. It like just opens like this. I will link this in the description box in case you guys want one like this, but it's so nice because it doesn't pinch fingers like regular binders do. But what we do is I give him this page, and this is what he works on while I'm reading him the lesson. So this one was Moses, right? Baby Moses. Okay, and then we've got Samson. Some days we put more effort into it than others, but it's cool because it has him, it'll have like this outside part of the page, and then it has Samson on a different page, so he had to cut him out and he had to glue him onto here. So it's just, I don't know, it's a good little, we've got David and Goliath. So we haven't, some of these are just coloring. This was a good one. This was when we learned about the disciples. And so we talked about the disciples, and I wrote the names down as he helped me say them. So then there were 12 disciples, so that was a lot to learn. Then we've got Daniel and the lion's den, which is another one where he had to cut out Daniel and glue him in here with the lion. We are going to do Moses and the burning bush. Okay, so we are going to read. Jonah's going to be working on his picture here. So this is what they give him, which is just says color the picture of Moses and the burning bush. And a lot of times, especially if they're younger, they might need help like knowing what color to do things. So I make sure my picture is here so he knows what part should be green for the tree and what part should be orange for the fire. So I make sure he can look at the picture while I read. Okay, so Moses and the burning bush from Exodus 2:11 through 3:22. When Moses, the baby in the basket, remember the baby in the basket we learned about? Yeah. When the baby in the basket grew up, he went to see his own people, the Israelites. The Israelites were still slaves. Moses saw one Egyptian beating an Israelite. Moses killed the Egyptian. When Pharaoh found out, he wanted to kill Moses, but Moses ran away. Moses lived in a new land for a long time. He lived as a shepherd. One day, while Moses was with the sheep, he saw a strange bush. There was fire in the bush, but the bush was not burning. Moses went to look closer. God called to him from the bush. He told Moses to take off his sandals because he was on holy ground. Can you imagine seeing a burning bush, a bush outside, like in our yard, that was on fire like that?
We never had a fire.
I know. Can you imagine seeing a bush like that? What would you think?
Would have a fire.
Would you be kind of scared seeing a bush on fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy. So God told him it was holy ground. So God spoke to him and said, take off your sandals. Moses hid his face. He knew that God was speaking to him from the fire.
Is it hot?
Oh yeah, it was really hot because it was fire. So it was really hot. So he knew that God was speaking to him from the fire, and he was afraid to look at God. God told Moses that the Israelites were still slaves. They were being treated very badly. God had chosen Moses to lead the people out of slavery. Moses did not think that he was the right man to do the job. God knew that he had picked the right man. God would be with Moses as he went down to Egypt, and he told the Pharaoh to let God's people go. The job would not be easy, but God would help Moses.
Mom, I'm coloring so good.
You are. That's amazing. Very good. So, Jonah, you know what's cool about this bush? Is that it was burning and it was on fire. But do you know what happens when you make a fire and you take a piece of wood and you catch it on fire? What happens to it? Does it stay like a piece of wood, or does it kind of shrivel up?
It burns.
It burns into tiny little like ashes, right?
We have a fireplace.
We do have a fireplace. And do you know what? This bush, it burned and burned. And do you know what it didn't do? It didn't turn into ashes. The bush stayed green. See how the leaves are still green even though it's on fire?
Yeah.
That just showed that this was God doing this. This was not just a random bush that caught on fire from lightning or something. This was God doing the burning bush to get Moses' attention. Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to try to say our memory verse now. You ready? Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Psalm 51:7.
Psalm 51:7.
Very good.
Psalm 51:7.
Wash me,
Wash me,
and I shall be whiter than snow.
I will be whiter than snow.
Very good. So, Jonah, what did Moses do for a living after he left Egypt? Do you remember that? What was his job?
He was a shepherd.
A shepherd. What does a shepherd do?
Shepherd takes care of sheep.
Very good. Okay, last one. You ready? Why did Moses have to take off his sandals? Do you remember that?
I don't know.
He had to take off his sandals because it was holy ground. Remember, God said this is holy ground, so he told him to take off his sandals. Holy ground. Who's holy, Joe? Do you know what holy means? Like perfect. Who's the only perfect, amazing person in the whole wide world? Who created all of us?
God.
God. Do you know that God is the only perfect, holy person? Isn't that cool? That's why we worship him. Okay, so that is it. It's a really, really quick lesson. It can be, you can elaborate if your child is older and ask more questions. Like I said, there is that little summary section at the bottom. I usually don't do that. I try to make sure he gets it from the questions. And that's it. It's a quick lesson, but you get that Bible time in. He has learned a lot from these stories, and it's been really good. But it's not too much. If he were to sit in with the Bible lessons that my girls do, it'd be too much and it'd be over his head. And I feel like this is really good for a preschooler. I would say anywhere from 3 to 6, this could work, depending on your child. Like my daughter, my oldest daughter, when she was 3, she could have done something like this with no problem. But with him, he wouldn't have sat still for this when he was 3. So it just depends on your kid. Look at this picture. Here, come over here so they can see you too. Look at that final product. Isn't that amazing? So amazing. So one thing I forgot to mention that is kind of really important is Bible Nuggets from A to Z. That's the title, and I forgot to tell you that. So if you look in here, that's why it's good for preschool, because a lot of times preschool, they have like a letter of the week type of thing. So this is the A to Z part. I'm just going to read to you what it says in here. It says this Bible storybook follows an A to Z format. So it begins with 2 lessons which explain the power of the Lord Jesus Christ. So the first 2, one is Jesus tells the storm to stop. It talks about his power. And then Jesus feeding the 5,000. Then lessons 3 and following take on an A to Z format, beginning with A for Adam. Lesson 14 to 25 leave the A to Z format for 1 each week in order to emphasize Christmas and Easter respectively. Anyway, so there's a couple things thrown in there, but for the most part, it's A to Z. The final lesson, hold on, Z is for Zacchaeus. And then after that, the final 4 lessons were chosen to emphasize obedience to parents, obedience to God. Hold on one second. Obedience to God's love for his children and God's power and plan for his people. So it's kind of cool that it has the A to Z thing in there, which is 26 letters, right? We all know that there's 26 letters in the alphabet. But there's 34 lessons. So it's got the 2 that emphasize about Jesus and the power of Jesus. And then at the end, it talks about things that your child really needs, like obedience and things like that. It also has the Christmas story in there and the Easter story, which we actually already got to that point, so I skipped it, and we're going to do it when we get to Christmas. But I really like this. It's a really good, just simple, easy, straightforward Bible lesson. I love that it has this activity book too that you can get so that their hands are busy, because for him, if he was to just sit there, sometimes he'll sit there and listen, but there are times where it really helps if he's coloring it, and he'll remember when I say tonight, at the table with Daddy, and say, hey, what was your Bible lesson today that you learned? He's going to at least remember, oh, the bush was on fire, or there's a burning bush. And then we can ask questions about who are we talking about, and who was the man in the story. And we usually try to review and make sure he really gets it, but it's a really good curriculum. It was very cheap. It's made for preschool kids, but it is working great for my kindergartner. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, let us know. But do we have anything else to say?
My drawing.
His drawing was amazing. He's really proud of it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye. 3, 2. We can look right here at that thing. Okay? You ready?
I can't find it anywhere.
Okay, we'll find it in here, and then we'll come back right back. For the last minute, just wait for a second. Okay, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Wait, wave when I say we'll see you next time, okay? When I say bye. Thanks so much for watching. Wait. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye. Okay.